Hey, it's Kevin Lawton, and I am here at Modex in our booth, and I am joined by my friend Brett Wood, who's president and CEO over at the Toyota Material Handling of North America, also overseeing Raymond, also on the board of Bastian, also newly elected to the ITA as well, involved with MHI, all these things, right?
That's
I
right.
mean, we were just saying that you really don't have time to sleep, right?
No, sometimes sleeping is optional.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
okay. I wouldn't have it any other way.
I know, and I think you have such a passion for the industry that's certainly contagious, and I think it's such a great thing. But
Appreciate that.
before we kind of dive into discussion fully, why don't you just kind of give us the brief overview of Toyota Material Handling North America and what that kind of encompasses?
Okay, so Toyota Material Handling North America, or TMHNA, an acronym, oversees the Toyota brand and the Raymond brands in North America. So we have about 5 factories now, soon to be another factory. Make an announcement soon on that. And building forklifts. Our factory in Indiana builds 190 forklifts a day.
Wow.
Our Raymond facilities, they're building over 100 forklifts a day. It's pretty amazing. And the 15,000 people are part of this group organization, not just manufacturing, but also engineering, service, support, through sales, through our dealers. We also have some equity dealers that we own, but we have a great dealer network that supports all the customers all around USA, Canada, Mexico, and everywhere. Bastian, since you mentioned Bastian was acquired by Toyota Industries a couple years ago. I enjoyed being involved with them on their board, and it broadens the opportunities for customers to not only buy a forklift from Toyota or Raymond, but now with Bastian products, they can support them solving all their problems with
everything.
With material handling, whether it's conveyor, automation, sortation, and so forth. So it's been a great opportunity to be able to be a solutions provider and not just a forklift provider.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very interesting too, and especially we see how the industry has evolved. I mean, we look around here at Modex, and obviously it's not just about forklifts anymore, right?
Man,
there's so much else going on. So I'm curious from your perspective. We like to check in with each other, right, at these events. So tell us a little bit about what you're seeing in the industry as some of the top trends or some of the things that are top of mind.
Okay. That's great, and matter of fact, seeing it firsthand here at the show, I would say automation comes to mind as one of the key topics. So a lot of it is driven by technology. Technology is getting so much better, being able to automate vehicles, forklifts, AMRs, no matter what the size is. So technology is getting better, but also being driven by the lack of employees at some customers that can drive forklifts. So there's a demand for customers to say, hey, we need our product moved. We don't have enough people to hire.
Right.
So can it be automated? So that's really, I would say, over the last couple of years, been an interesting topic with a lot of customers, and it'll grow. To more automation. Automation is one trend that I'm definitely seeing and observing here at the show. The other one is electrification. So our Industrial Truck Association collects all the data about forklifts that are sold in North America, and 66% of what was sold last year was electric.
Oh, wow.
66%.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It is, and people think about automobiles, and that's what makes the news, electric cars.
Yeah.
But that's less than 10% of the market.
Yeah, that's right.
I hear it's maybe even 7 or 8. So 66 is pretty high. We've been in the electric forklift world a long time. Raymond just celebrated their 100-year anniversary last year.
I was there. It was fantastic.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's 100 years of electric forklifts. When you think about electric vehicles or electric power. Right. So electrification is an important trend. There are regulations that are impacting that, influencing that. For example, California, CARB. We'll be having some announcements coming up with phase in or a phase out, depending how you look at it. A phase out would be if you're looking at it from an engine product point of view.
Right.
A phase in would be if you're looking at it from an electrification point of view.
Okay.
So there are going to be more electric forklifts in the state of California because of CARB's regulations. And then what states follow after that. So regulations will have an impact on how many customers acquire and decide to go electric. Another trend that's related is different types of batteries and lithium-ion batteries.
Right.
And I don't know if you've seen it around the show here.
Yes.
I've seen a lot more lithium-ion batteries than I've ever seen before, different types of charging techniques. So technology is getting better. It's actually, I think, helping with the longevity, runtime. Probably the challenge for most customers are costs. So when the costs start to come down a little bit on some of this new technology, you're probably going to see more lithium-ion, more different types of technology, maybe even fuel cell as a power source for forklifts in the future also.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't see it at the show so much, but you asked about industry trends. I'm starting to hear more too about sustainability initiatives.
Yeah, I think
which
that's
I think is
interesting
great.
thing.
Yeah, whether it's customers asking about us as a supplier, what are your sustainability initiatives and goals? Whether it's the companies like ours that are we just installed a lot of solar panels on 2 different facilities, one at Raymond in New York, one at Toyota in Indiana. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It'll help us generate clean power. And I also think it's a trend. I just met with a lot of college students today. They're looking for companies.
I heard you had a big line of students wanting to talk to you.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. But they're looking for companies that have sustainability goals and initiatives. So the younger generation, I think we could use it as a way to recruit talent.
Yes.
If you're doing sustain, you probably are, but maybe you need to promote it even a little bit more than you are. So yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too that you pointed that out, and kind of the future generation and that sustainability aspect. Because I do some adjunct teaching myself as well, and it's funny. We recently we're going to have a test, and they're like, "Is the test going to be online?" And I'm like, I don't think so. I think it's going to be on paper. And someone was like, that's a lot of paper to be using. Like, they're very, conscious of that, I think. And I think that's an important thing to point out there. And it is interesting to see, out here on the floor and the focus on sustainability. I know somebody, I think they're in B Hall or C Hall, but their mission is to clean the rivers in the country. But they take all of the plastic waste, and now they're manufacturing that plastic waste into plastic pallets. Actually, very interesting stuff.
That's fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. Seeing all those types of things, and I'm curious, especially as we talk about technology, right, and automation, evolution, and all these things, and how products are coming like that, and even the different energy solutions too. I know that, one of your kind of core fundamental things, and Toyota's fundamental thing is safety as well. So I'm curious, how do you make sure, as you are developing these new technologies or embracing these new technologies, or maybe from a Bastian perspective, putting new technologies together in one facility, how do you ensure that you're maintaining those same safety levels in that development?
Yeah. So safety is a great topic. I'm glad you brought it up. So safety needs to be part of a corporate culture.
Yes.
So we start every meeting at Toyota, no matter the topic, safety first.
Safety first.
So if I'm having a monthly review meeting and there's 20 topics, quality, sales, production, suppliers, procurement, whatever it is, we always start with safety first.
Right.
And then actually probably quality right after that.
Yeah.
So it's ingrained that it's important, no matter who's in the meeting or the discussion you're having out in your factory. I think it's important to make it part of the culture. You talked about new products and new product design, and there's usually a list of criteria, and productivity, performance, recyclability, or sustainability. But safety is also one of those criteria components. And then talk about training too. So even operator training. Now with the Industrial Truck Association, I'll shift to that for a minute. The group, which is an association full of forklift companies, basically competitors, all agree that every operator needs to be trained appropriately for the forklift that they work on.
Absolutely.
And with that, we started National Forklift Safety Day.
Yes. Our favorite holiday.
June 11th.
Yes.
Coming up. So it's always the second Tuesday in June, Washington, D.C., but it's also available online. And it's our 11th year of having National Forklift Safety Day. OSHA is usually part of it, so we've got a good collaboration with OSHA. And then what I'm happy about is now we've talked about this so much that other countries are also doing their national forklift. So fantastic. I heard Australia's having one, UK is having one, and my dream someday, not National Forklift Safety, but wouldn't it be great to have a global safety day, or maybe week, or calendars I'm sure would be challenging, but it's just great to see that anybody who is around a forklift is starting to be more aware that operators need to be safely trained. There are a lot, I was mentioning to you, there's a lot of operators driving forklifts.
About
4.5 million people, we think.
Yeah.
That their desk, their office is a forklift.
Yes. Yeah.
4.5 million people. So the emphasis on getting them trained safely so they can get home safe to their families every night is really important to Toyota, but our industry too.
Yeah, and I think even from the standpoint of your customers too, who are utilizing the forklifts and buying those forklifts. I mean, they want the same thing, right? They want their employees to come in, as they say, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Yeah. Leave with 10 fingers, 10 toes, and go home to their family.
And even reduce product damage. Training helps a lot.
Yeah.
With not just safety, but also reducing accidents from product damage and hitting a rack, or a wall, or a pallet. So technology's helping too. Toyota just launched a system called Sense and Sense Plus. Right. So if the forklift were to back up and be near an object or a person, the forklift automatically slows down and stops.
Yes.
So I think you're going to see that technology also throughout the industry. Collision avoidance type of systems.
Yeah, and I think I love that technology because I think it's so. I mean, we have it in our cars now, right? So why would we not have it in our forklifts? I mean, in some aspects and some scenarios, I mean, even a forklift accident could be as bad or worse than a car accident. So we should have that same kind of safety technology in place. And I love that you guys are embracing that and making that happen and pushing for that in the industry. I mean, I think it's super, super important.
Yeah, and Raymond has launched. Are you familiar with the order pickers? To go up,
yes.
You wear a safety belt, and it should be latched.
Right.
Many people forget to do that.
Yeah, I've yelled at a few warehouse employees who have come by me and they're not latched. Yeah.
So now there's a system where the interlocking device gives a warning to the operator that you're not attached.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it's on display at the Raymond booth.
Yeah.
I love that feature. If I was a customer, I would buy that every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it should be mandatory. I would say, almost. Yeah, because I mean, I think that is such a great thing because it is, even like in one operation that I worked in, we had Raymond forklifts there. We had the order selectors, a lot of them, and yeah, even sometimes they want to jump on the machine and just move it a little bit, and I'm like, no, you're hooking it up. Yeah.
So my point is just technology is great. It's going to make our products better, efficient, and safer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's such a great thing for looking forward to the future and even the right now to be able to make it safe. And so as we talk about the future here, we kind of mentioned all these students that were interested in talking to you here. But I know that, and I think the last time we spoke back at ProMat last year, we were talking about the investment that Toyota had made in the manufacturing workshop at the one school, right?
Oh,
for
right.
students.
Right. So the Forklift Learning Studio.
Yes. Yeah.
At Cornell University.
Right.
And I just visited there recently.
Yeah. How's
saw
that
it
going?
in action.
Yeah.
So it's been 1 year, and it's going great. I walked into their studio. There was a forklift. There were tables with components on it. And then over on the side, we donated an engine. The engine was in about 100 pieces. And I said, "What are you doing with that?"
Yeah.
And the professor said, "Oh, every other week we take it apart and we have another group of students put it back together."
Oh, wow.
These are engineering students at an
Yeah.
Ivy League school that they're not technicians or mechanics. You know, these are engineering students.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it, I can see how happy the professors are and the students, is in the morning they're learning theoretical. Fluid dynamics, heat transfer, statics, physics, whatever it is, but it's all theoretical. Then in the afternoon, they get to go down to the forklift learning studio and they get hands-on related to what they just learned in the morning. And that was the whole dream and the image of it, because a forklift has a cylinder, has hydraulics, has chains, has engines, or it's electric, it has motors, or it has electricity. It has physics and dynamics because a forklift has a stability triangle. So it was great to see that the students basically tearing apart our truck and putting it back together, but learning basic engineering principles, because which was the dream of Professor Brian Kirby when he came up with that idea.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic that you've done that. It's such a great experience for the students. So I'm curious, as you were talking to the students today here at Modex, I mean, what are some of the maybe we could look at this from two sides, from the student perspective, but also the company perspective too. What are some advice that you would give to I guess the student about why they should be interested in our industry, because I think that's one thing that has been a topic of conversation within the industry is how do we get the newer generation to be interested in material handling and coming into our industry to be able to continue to help us grow and address some of those labor challenges as well.
It's a great topic, Kevin, and I have a passion for it.
I know you do.
To get students into our industry. It's funny, I'll start some of my presentations lately. So raise your hand if you want to, work for Google and Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to work with forklifts. Nobody raises their hand.
Yeah.
Right? I went to college.
Yeah.
I said, well, okay, then now give me 10 minutes and see if I can change your mind. Right?
Yeah.
So that's part of the presentation. But I went to college, and I never said I was going to work with forklifts. You just don't think of that as a career path. Material handling, supply chain, logistics, been in the news a lot the last couple of years, thanks to COVID and so forth, and maybe. So I think it's kind of elevated our presence, maybe amongst students and general news. But so I'll show them examples of automation, robotics, and how a forklift touches everything that we either eat or own or wear or sit on. And then how can that, if you're a design engineer, mechanical engineer, industrial engineer, you're thinking about how to make that piece of equipment more efficient. Think about all the engineering principles that forklift has. It's even more than a car. A car doesn't have hydraulics.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a mass.
Right.
That kind of. So from an engineering point of view, show some good examples there. From a say industrial engineer or a data analyst point of view, our industry probably has more data than we know what to do.
So much data. I mean, it's crazy to think about, because even you just look at from an e-commerce perspective. I mean, every single thing. I mean, there's data coming out every single second.
And when that sneaker was ordered from wherever it came from, put in a box, sent to a warehouse, how did it get from point A to B to C to D, and then the last mile, getting it to the store? And so I think it could be really fascinating if you're a young data analyst or industrial systems type of engineer. It's changing a lot. I heard someone say that probably this world will change, that part of the world, material handling, supply chain, will change more in the next 10 years than than the last 100 years.
Really?
That was a futurist speaking yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tend to agree with him that I wish I was 18. I wish I was 21 years old again, so that I could be part of this.
Right.
You've got, I said automation robotics. Now you're putting them together. You've got an automated vehicle with a robot arm on top of it,
right,
going from point A to point B and picking up item C, moving it to bin D, and then going and finding another item that's even bigger.
Right.
Or has a different center ground. I'm amazed at how it knows to pick up all these different items and then move it to where it needs to be, and no one interacted with it. So that's exciting. Technology, like you said, how do we get young people interested in our industry? It's gone, just even forklifts went from engine power, gas, diesel, LP, compressed natural gas, maybe fuel cells, battery, lead acid, lithium ion. What's the next battery technology? Hybrid.
Right.
And then I put a big question mark at the end of all this. What's the future? What's going to power a forklift 10 years from now?
Yeah. I think it's interesting, and I think that's definitely the way, is that technology, and showing them that there's this coolness about.
And we need those young people to help us find that.
Yeah,
what is that?
And figure it out.
And then
right?
all
that
the
curiosity.
data that goes with it. Right, Toyota's going to launch, every truck will have telematics on it. Every truck.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, flip a switch and get the data. Telematics tells you everything about that truck.
Right.
Where it was, when it was driving, when it was backing up, when it was lifting, when it was lowering, when was the operator taking a smoke break. It has everything about it.
Yeah.
When did it hit a wall? It has a shock sensor. So what do you do with that data? How do you make that customer more efficient with that data? And that's where we could always hire more people to do those kind of things for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's there's a lot of power within that data and being able to create that visibility. But as we get that next generation kind of involved and interested and being able to get creative with those things and get creative with the data, I think is such an important thing. So now, on the topic of, new technology and getting things almost showcased in a sense for people coming into the industry or that are already in the industry as well. You guys are going to be doing a pretty large automation project internally, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
We are. So at Toyota's corporate headquarters and facility in Columbus, Indiana, we own quite a bit of land there, and next to our factory, which is it's about 1 million square feet, it's pretty big. We have a factory that builds forklifts every day. Matter of fact, about 190 forklifts every day. Every 4 minutes, a forklift's built there. Next to that is a parts distribution center. A very good, efficient parts distribution center. The demand for our parts lately has really been high.
Yeah.
And everybody, the whole industry, to be honest. So the importance of delivering is, now everybody wants their package overnight.
Right. Yeah.
We're all now in that mode. So you got to deliver quickly, and you got to have parts in stock and ready to go. We are about to invest millions of dollars into our parts distribution center to make it more automated, to use like an auto store type of system, a carousel system, some conveyor and so forth. So basically we're upgrading, we're automating our own parts distribution, our own facility. And it's going to be, I'm so excited about it that I think it's going to turn into a showcase, if you will. So an area that when customers or dealers, or anyone, yourself, come to visit our factory, well, let's go across the parking lot. You just saw a forklift from me. Now we're going to show you how parts can be automated and really efficiently. From a customer point of view, it might give them some ideas on how they could upgrade their facility without looking at a computer. Or a brochure. Now they can actually see hands-on our facility, and we could help maybe explain it even better to them. So yeah, that'll be later this year by the end of the summer and the fall. We should have that up and running. Pretty excited.
Definitely, and definitely looking forward to seeing that and how all different solutions come together. And I think it will be a fantastic showcase.
It'll be great. And like your warehouse type of audience. We have our own warehouse. We need to we need to upgrade it ourselves. So it'll be the investments have been exciting. I've got a phrase that I like to use. The industry's pretty healthy right now. We just finished an industry that was probably the top 5 of all time. It was down a little bit from the prior. The prior year had a big pent-up demand.
Right.
So it was a crazy year, to be honest with you, 2022. 2023 was down, but compared to the year before, but top 5 of all time, so still pretty healthy. This year will probably be a little flat, maybe, similarly. But then we're predicting the next 5 years for some steady growth. And my phrase I like to say is to repair your roof on a sunny day. Don't wait for the rain.
That's a good idea.
Invest now, while make our world better.
Right.
Now, if you can. So that's one. We just also invested in our factory for automated welding and video cameras that can inspect the welds automatically.
Interesting.
I know. So, multi-million-dollar investment that I just got a great demonstration. We just finished it in January, and the technology is not only making products better, it's making how the products are made better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and I love that you're embracing the technology too, and you're embracing the technology not only for the need right now, but the need for the future too. And I think that's such a great example to set, and I think that it's going to be an inspiring place to go for a lot of people, whether it's on the manufacturing side or the distribution side,
or warehouse.
To be able to see those two different sides of things. So always very interesting to talk to you here, Brad, and always appreciate the time connecting at these shows and getting the latest on Toyota and just the industry in general. So really appreciate you coming by and talking to me today, sir.
Likewise. Thank you very much. I always enjoy it, Kevin.
Absolutely.
Great job with your show.
All right. Thank you very much, Brett.